So I thought today I would start off the video by doing something a little different, and I'm actually going to weigh myself just to check in, not because I've made a lot of progress, but because I haven't and I want to hold myself accountable. So here we go. God, I'm fucking crazy. I had the camera faced the wrong way. Alright, that way. Here we go. Okay, this is crazy. I just literally stepped on this 1 second ago and it said 207. This again. Okay, apparently my iPad weighs 2 pounds. I wonder if I can like set this down. $206.2. So that's exactly why I don't go just off of a scale. So what we're also going to do is we're going to take body shots, and then we're going to compare where, like, what I looked like when I first let myself go as far as after getting married. I don't have any body shots of when I was 268 pounds, but I have them this time around because when I, hear my floor squeaking, because when I let myself go, after I got married and I just kind of like put on that 40, piled back on that 40 or 50 pounds. So because I don't have any progress pics from that, and because I did let myself go again, I took progress pics of like my weight, my starting weight this time around. I was just so unhappy with how I felt, how I looked. I was getting big again, and I would say I'm even still on the large side. But I know I've been making some progress just from the nutrition in the gym. And this video, please don't feel like you need to watch this video. This video is more or less like me making it public where I'm at right now so that hopefully I can push myself to progress more instead of just staying stagnant. Okay, here we go. Here's my body progress, or lack thereof, and I just want to warn you, it is not pretty. Avert your eyes, avert your eyes. So today, as you can tell, we're doing something a little different. And first things first, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. This channel, I like to document things that I learn throughout my recovery. I'm recovering addict and alcoholic since 2012. And I also own and operate the store Goodie Stash, where I sell things on Poshmark and eBay, and that's how I make a living. And I like to share lessons that I've learned and current struggles and things that I've struggled with in my past on this channel. So you saw me step on the scale this morning, and if I remember right, the point that I was fed up with this time around when I let myself go, for those that don't know, after I got pregnant with my son, I ballooned up to 268 pounds, and I lost over 90 pounds before getting married. After I got married, I gained a good chunk of the weight back. I remember weighing myself, and I remember 219 sticking out in my mind as like, okay, I'm almost back to, it felt like, okay, I'm past the tipping point. I'm almost back to where I originally started, and I don't want to go all the way backwards. But at the same time, I was recognizing that the way that I lost the weight, I wasn't able to maintain or keep up with it. Just like working out that much and restricting my food that much wasn't sustainable for me. So that's when I decided to start focusing on how I could lose the weight in a more practical way that it would stay off, and obviously the weight would come off slower this time around. So that was my starting point. Yeah, so when I stepped on the scale this morning, if I was just to go off the scale number, I started at 219 pounds. Now I'm down to just over 207. Yeah, in a way that would be seen as a good thing, but in a way it's not, because I've also been taking measurements. Okay, here it is. So I've also been taking measurements, and so I know I should have been taking measurements from the very beginning, but the first measurement I can find, I was down to 211 pounds. My bust was at 44.5. My waist was at 38.25, and my hips were at 44 inches. So then I periodically would take measurements, and like here, my waist got down to 37.5. My weight went up and my waist went down. So see, and then today you saw how much bigger my waist was, and here it was 37.25. All right, I'm not gonna bore you with all this, but the point is, if I just went off of the scale, I would say I'm progressing. But I've been taking measurements, and I know I haven't. I know I've gone backwards. So I'm making this video to hold myself accountable, and I think it's a good thing for me to periodically check in. And even though it doesn't necessarily matter to you guys, why, like, that I'm losing fat, or I'm losing weight, or I'm losing pounds, or I'm losing inches, blah blah blah, you know, it's like whatever. But it's the bigger thing is I want to be able to be healthier. This is something that I do struggle with a lot. I struggle with nutrition a lot. I struggle with my weight a lot. I struggle with self-image a lot. I struggle with accepting myself a lot. So these kind of all tie in together, and I just wanted to make a little video about it because I am a recovering bulimic, so I also am a recovering addict. I also am a recovering alcoholic. I also am now a mom, and I'm also now a wife, and I also have a lot of more responsibility than the first time around when I lost the weight. Yes, I was a mom, but I wasn't married yet, and I wasn't in charge of like dinners and all the meals and everything like that. I was getting a lot of help, right, from my own family. And now I'm starting to realize just how important nutrition is, also because I struggle with depression. And I can't like go into the science. Maybe that could be a video for another day, but I can go off of how I feel. And when I eat better, I feel better, and that plays a big role into my depression. This time around, when I felt like this wave of depression coming on, I decided just to eat clean the whole week as much as I possibly could. Nobody's perfect. Yes, we all slip up. Yes, we have whatever little sweets and treats here and there. So I think that whole week I might have had one donut, and everything else was pretty much clean eating. And my depression didn't go into a big deep drop. It just kind of stayed and then lifted. So I think that's something I'm going to be a lot more aware of going forward. And I also don't want to just ramble on about looks, because that's what gets me into trouble, is because like when I was younger, I just focused on looks so much. I focused on like idolizing body types that I could never actually achieve. I idolized like tiny little stick. I don't know why, but I just was obsessed with like having a tiny little like skinny, tiny frame, like being really petite. And I didn't idolize like curves and anything like that. And now I'm starting to realize, well, I am curvy. Like I do, like look at my wrist. Like I can't, if I was to get skinny, like teeny tiny, you can't get any skin, like your bones can't get any skinnier. You know, I can't change my DNA. I can't change who I am. So this is playing into like self-acceptance. I have to start to realize I am me, and I need to love myself as I am. But there's also a fine line between loving myself as I am and like letting myself go and not taking care of my health and not being a priority. And I'm finding that that can be a very confusing thing, because I think a lot of times I treat myself with food, and that's like a habit I kind of want to get out of, but I also am like very antisocial. And I actually want to make a video about that maybe next week, is like the irony of going from the life of the party to basically being seen as like the wet blanket, even though that's not actually how I am. It's just when you stop using, you stop partying, you stop doing like being like the clown, the jokester, always entertaining, everything like that, you become I became a lot less popular, and I started to realize that people I thought were down for me they could give a shit about me, right? So I kind of had to start my life over, and I had to cut ties with my old playmates, is what they call them. And then I was supposed to rebuild my life, and I did rebuild my life, and I am rebuilding my life, but I never really replaced my old using friends with like new friends. So like currently I actually have 0 actual friends. I have family. I have my husband, who's my best friend. I have my son, who's kind of like a friend, but not really, he's my son. And I don't have any girlfriends. Actually, I guess you could say I have one girlfriend, but she's quite a lot older than me. She's in her 90s. I love her so much, but she's also almost more of like a grandma to me in a way because she is so much older. But other than that, I have absolutely no friends that aren't related to me. And that's something that is kind of still a constant struggle for me in feeling like isolated and lonely in my sobriety. So I'll get into that on another day. But when I go to social gatherings, I feel like the food is kind of a, like part of it. I don't know. Food is a big part of like, the gathering, the bonding, you eat and you enjoy the food together and you have a good time. And I felt like when I was highly restricted and I was like, oh no, I can't eat that, and I brought my own food and everything like that, I felt like it was less enjoyable, just the whole experience as a whole, both for me and I think the person hosting, because there was a little bit of just, I don't know, it was kind of a thing, and I can go back to that if I have to, but I just feel like I have very little social interaction as it is. Not really necessarily looking to make the few social interactions I do have right now even more uncomfortable. So the point of this video is, ew, what is that smell? Oh, she's done it again. So I want to definitely check in from time to time, and the only way I know how to do that is with physical markers. So I can take measurements, I can do video like 360s, I can step on the scale and just check in. How am I doing with fat loss? Have I lost any inches? Has my body changed? Have I gotten any stronger? I can share these types of things. And I also want to be very clear. Yeah, I did let myself go when I got married, and for those who don't know, like the struggle that I've been through with my weight and with everything like that, just to give you a tiny little glimpse, like a snapshot into it. When I was hardcore on the drugs, shooting dope every day, I got down to a teeny tiny size. I was fitting in little girl size clothing. That was very unnatural for me, and I was very sick at that time in my life. Also, I was very unhappy. This was also when I was like a full-blown bulimic and addict and alcoholic. So I got really skinny, but I was like the most miserable I'd ever been. Fast forward to me getting sober, me getting pregnant. Before I got married, I decided that after I had my son, I gained almost all of my weight when I was pregnant. I just went crazy with the food. Like I just went crazy. And I gained a lot of weight. I ate whatever I wanted. I think I even became addicted to food. I might even be still addicted to food. I don't know. I have an addictive personality. So just, I had my son, and I was determined to drop a lot of weight, and I just wanted to lose weight. I dropped over 90 pounds. I lost the weight pretty quickly. It was like a 1.5 year time frame. I got married. Then I started to pile the weight back on. This is where I'm currently sitting at 207 pounds. When I started this time around, the like tipping point for me was when I hit 219 pounds, and I was just like, it might have been even a little bit more than that, but that's when I was like, I feel shitty again. I don't like how I feel. I don't like how I am looking. I'm getting like this pooch situation happening again. And it was also, I just felt really shitty. Like I just felt bad. I felt like I was going backwards. I felt like I was throwing away everything I had worked for. So now I want to focus on how can I like be more balanced overall. It's not just about the weight loss. It's about like how can I accept myself for like my curves, accept myself as like, yeah, I'm never going to have like this hourglass figure, but how can I get to a healthy weight that I'm able to maintain? That is one of my focuses on like my personal level, but I also have to remember that for me, it was like I just need to get back to the basics. I need to get back to the basics. Back to working out more regularly was my starting point. Back to working out more regularly. Back to eating just overall a more balanced diet, less out to eat, less desserts, all that sort of thing. I didn't necessarily need to be like, I'm on the South Beach diet, or I'm on the Atkins, or I'm doing keto. No, it was more just like back to the basics, like calories in, calories out, be more active, eat overall healthier, just very, very basic shit. Like that's what I did the first time around, was very basic. Like I ate less calories than I exerted more calories than I ate, right? I exercised enough to keep the weight off. Like I exercised enough to kill the fat. But I say that because you don't like getting healthier doesn't have to be a super expensive thing. It can be very basic. Just eating more vegetables, just eating more meat. But I'm telling myself this. It's like I need a reminder. Like, but sometimes it's hard, even though I know what to do. Sometimes it's still hard to do it. So I just have to keep going. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I've been way like under what I should be. So I've been on both extremes, and I have an extreme personality. So I think more than anything, I just want to focus on being more balanced overall. And it's kind of hard because sometimes I feel like I'm happy. Like lately I felt really happy, and then I checked in and it's just like, shit, like I've gone backwards. This fucking sucks. I thought I was making progress. I've been going to the gym 4 times a week. I thought I was overall eating pretty healthy, but it's like, okay, something's not working. And then what I have to remember is it's almost like one gigantic science experiment. You can go on a fad diet if you want. You can restrict this, restrict that, however you want to go about it. I choose that I want to go about it in a more balanced way, having treats, but not like having treats every single day, like having treats, but being able to be in moderation. And that is really hard for me being a bulimic, because I am just so used to like when I have something that I love, just like going fucking crazy with it, eating like a huge amount of it, and then basically just getting rid of it all by throwing it up. And that's been something I still struggle with even after I stopped purging. So after I stopped throwing up, I still binged for a long time. And that's something that I'm always having to like check myself with, is like, you can have that, but you only need one serving. And that's really hard for me, being that I have an addictive personality. So anyway, I don't want to just focus on looks. I don't want it to be all about that. But the reason that I'm going to do periodically, I'm going to try to check in with, maybe I check in once a month. Maybe I check in once every 3 months. But I need to do it just so that I can actually be like, okay, look, like I slipped up this time. What am I going to do to change it? How am I going to work towards this? For me personally, in this instance, where I think I slipped up is, I think like after dinner, I'd been having another snack, and that snack actually had like turned into more of like a full-blown like next meal. I was having whatever we had for dinner, like I was having that again for a snack. And I think it's hard for me because I am a night owl and I stay up till 12 o'clock working, and I'm like, I get like really hungry at night, and in the daytime I'm so busy with just going. In the daytime I'm really busy, and so sometimes I forget to eat during the daytime, and then that like catches up with me at night. but then at night I'll like overeat, and I think that's where I went wrong in this instance. So what I'm trying to do is I treat it like a science experiment. Okay, so I'm going to change one thing, and after dinner, I'm only going to have a snack, and it's going to be something a lot lighter, like a serving of vegetables, or I kind of am just going to go with that for a while, like a serving of vegetables after dinner, and see how that plays out, and if I'm able to start dropping again fat. And if not, then maybe I'm going to have to add cardio back in, because I took cardio out because I hate cardio and I love lifting weights. So I was sort of playing around with the idea of just lifting weights and not doing cardio, but that's might not be what I need to do this time around. I might have to do both. And I feel like I do a certain degree of cardio because I walk Bella, I walk my dog. My job is pretty active overall because I ship, I take photos, I model clothes, I am like doing inventory, I'm going out finding items to sell. Like, it's overall pretty active, but like the editing and the listing and the research, that's all just like me straight up. Oh, and the sharing, that's just all like straight up me laying in bed, and I can do that all from my tablet. So it's active and it's not. So maybe the cardio needs to come back into the picture. But anyway, I don't even know. Like, part of me doesn't even think I should post this video, because I also struggle with, okay, Jackie, is it really smart to go public with your like fat loss journey, being that you suffer from an eating disorder and you have such an addictive personality? Like, the chances that I actually like fail at this miserably are incredibly high. But then it's like, you know what, I might as well just post it anyway, because it's something I struggle with. It's something I've struggled with for a really long time. And if there's anybody else out there struggling with it, just know that like you're not alone. And it is easy to know all the right things to do, but it's hard to actually do them consistently enough to where you start to chip away at what you actually like want to get to where your main like your goal is. And also, it's important for me not to just put my goal as a number. My goal has to be how I feel. My goal has to be like how balanced I am. My goal has to be like for my health. And the reason I focus on like demonstrating that I'm in apple shape, like when I pack on weight, extra weight that I don't need, it goes straight to my midsection, it goes straight to my back, and it turns me into an apple. Whereas like when I don't have the extra weight, I'm never like this size, like go in at the waist, but I'm more of like a straight figure. And so it's not to point at that and be like, look, like you don't look good. It's not all about looks. It's like, look, no, you're putting your health at risk. Like, you're not taking care of yourself. And I want to do it to hold myself accountable, because I do want to be healthy. I do want to be healthier. I'm a lot healthier than how I was, but I want to be constantly improving. And so I think I will check in periodically just to have like something to measure it off of, because I can just say, yeah, like I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but if I'm not measuring it, then I have no way to tell if I'm progressing. So if you watched this video, thank you so much for watching. This was more of a personal video for me to check back on later and like know that this is where I was at here, and this is where I actually want to be. And I want to be well under 200 pounds on weight, but I also want to be closer to 35 inches on my waistline. I don't know if my waist can get any smaller than that, but 35 inches sounds good at this moment. So it sounds like if I can get my waistline down, I know that's what's going to put my health in a lot better of a position as far as minimizing my risk to get, certain things that you can get from having a big waistline. Okay, Google, if I have a big waistline, what health conditions am I at risk for?
On the website healthline.com, they say, according to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, you can be at increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease if you are a man with a waistline of more than 40 inches or a woman with a waistline of more than 35 inches.
Okay, so I didn't know what the conditions were, but yeah, I know that my waistline is something that I need to get. And maybe it doesn't have to be like that exact inches, but it's something to shoot for because I know I'm well over it. And I know that it's not just about like, I can say I love myself for how I look. Like, I do, but I don't. Like, I love myself for who I am. I don't really love myself like how exactly I physically look, but that's a deeper issue. Maybe we can go into that on another day. But I want to love myself by respecting my body and keeping my health a priority. So that's the main focus here. And if you watched this long tangent, thank you so much for hanging in there. If you're struggling with this too, drop in the comments what you struggle with. I'm more than happy to encourage you along. And obviously, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to keep trying. And until next time, stay strong, stay grateful, and stay positive. See you guys.